Namaste and welcome back to Middle Class University. I'm your host Abhijit Holla. In this video, let us learn about the key implications of public-private partnership in infrastructure. So there are a lot of implications during the construction of an infrastructure, but there are 8 such implications which are very much important in the case of public-private partnership. Let us list them one by one. So the first one is the project structuring. The second one is risk assessment and management, followed by sourcing of funds, tendering and bidding, concession agreement, project management, post-project ownership, and last but not the least, regulatory and dispute resolution framework. Let us now understand all these key implications in detail. So the first implication of public-private partnership in infrastructure is the project structuring. So what is project structuring? So this is the foundation of the infrastructure where one decides which activity from the project should be assigned between public and private authorities. So here what is more important is that the assignment of the activities between public and private authorities. If we consider metro construction as an example, now there are two important works in the metro construction. So the first work is civil works, that is the construction of foundations and the girders and all those concreting works, RCC works or pre-stressed concrete works, which is abbreviated as PSC works. All those things come under civil works. And there are also some other works which is very important, like manufacturing of trains, without which metro travel is not at all possible, and also the electrification of tracks and the track manufacturing as well, the fabrication of tracks. These are other kind of activities, and there are also some kind of activities like the electrical connections, and in the stations what should be the business outlets opened, and ticket counters, and also have you seen the smart cards in the metro station? Also the smart card manufacturing is also one of the major activities, and all these kind of activities should be assigned between public and private authorities. So this is actually a challenge. So if we sort this out, some 20 to 30% of the problem associated with respect to the foundation of an infrastructure is solved. So a well-structured project lays the groundwork for the effective risk assessment and management. So this was all about project structuring. So after learning about the project structuring, let us now move on to the next implication, that is risk assessment and management. So the very much important point in risk assessment management is that it ensures the protection of both public and private interests. So this is very much important. Why? Because both the parties have invested in this project. Both the parties have different causes. The public sector has the cause of social service, serving the people and gaining the economic benefits. And these private interests are such that they want to make profits out of the particular infrastructure project. So the risk has to be assessed and managed in such a way that both the interests are protected. But in the traditional government-led projects, this is not possible because the government bears all the kind of risks. In this visual, we can see the 5 stages of risk assessment process, that is to identify and then analyze, plan, track, and then document. So in this case, the communication becomes very much important in the case of risk assessment and management. Let us now move on to our next implication, that is sourcing of funds. So cash flow, right? Without this, the infrastructure project is not at all possible. So funding sources expand beyond the government budgets. So in the traditional government-led projects, we have to wait for the government to fund the project. Government budget actually has the allocations for different kinds of activity there. What will happen is that the particular fund which has to be allocated for a particular infrastructure can be less, or it depends on the other schemes of the government. But when the private party involves in the government projects, that is the public projects, there it enables better cash flow and smooth operations. Why? Because they have access to diverse debt financing methodologies. That means they know different financial institutions and they know how to extract the capital for that particular infrastructure and gain the profits out of it. This improves the financial stability of the infrastructure or of the project. So this was all about sourcing of funds. So after learning about the sourcing of funds, now let us learn about tendering and bidding. First important point in the case of tendering and bidding is that it requires careful documentation. So why we need this careful documentation is because this documentation should include the qualification criteria, requests for proposals, and evaluations of submissions to select the best private player as the concessionaire. So now you might ask me the question that is, what is concessionaire? So the concessionaire is a private company given the right to operate and manage a public asset or service for a particular period of time under the agreement. So this private player actually signs the agreement and he will be assigned a particular project. So how this concessionaire will be selected is that there will be multiple private players who apply to get that particular project. So government actually sets a price for the construction. So these private players, without deteriorating the quality of the project, they will try to reduce that particular price which is set by the government. So then what will happen is that the government will see all the bids or all the proposals which will be given by the private players, and then they select which is the least bid given by a particular private player without compromising the quality of the project. So this was all about tendering and bidding as well as the definition for concessionaire. So after learning about this, let us now learn about the next key implication of triple P in infrastructure, that is legally tenable concession documents. So this is just a visual of a person signing a concession document. This might be a private player, right? So concession documents should be legally sound. Why? Because in future there shouldn't be any complications with respect to this legal document. So if it has to be legally sound, then we need to include some of the important aspects like revenue models and also the risk allocations, where and all the private partner or the private party is taking the risks in this project and how is he earning the capital in this project in the long term. Everything should be explained in the concession document, which is signed by a private player. It should be explained in detail. So this ensures clarity for both the parties. So if there is any complication in the future, then nobody can question the private party which signed this document because they are bound to it. They are following it. If they are not following it, then the public party which actually gave this project to this concessionaire can ask them the questions like, you are not bound to the agreement which you have signed. And at that time, judiciary plays an important role in order to solve this, what do you say, the conflict. So this was all about legally tenable concession documents. So after learning about this, let us now learn about the practical aspect of any infrastructure project, that is the project management, without which nothing is possible. So this is a simple visual where I have mentioned first we plan it, then we do it, then we check it, then we act accordingly. So this is what we can say the four pillars of project management, just to understand the basics of it. So there are more technical terms with respect to project management, but this is the most simpler way to explain this. That is planning it, doing it, checking it, and acting according to it. So once the agreement is signed, the concessionaire manages the project. This is obvious fact, right? After signing the document, he starts the project. He starts purchasing the raw materials. He starts purchasing, in a metro construction example, let us say he starts purchasing cement, steel. Also, if he needs precast concrete elements, he have to set up a factory in the outskirts of the city or in the nearby place where construction is happening. And from there, he have to transport the materials and he have to assemble. For the assembling thing, he have to maintain another warehouse where he should appoint some personnel to handle it, manage it. So these all things come under project management. So once the agreement is signed, the concessionaire starts managing the project. So when the private party or the concessionaire manages the project, what does the public authority do is that they provide oversight and necessary permissions. So for example, a private player need 2 acres of land somewhere like in nearby the metro construction in order to store the materials and do all kinds of activities there, labor training, safety training, etc., and the camps for laborers, the camps for engineers who are handling the project, that is the site engineers, the project managers, etc. Then the private player will ask the government that I need this much amount of space or the permission, necessary permission to set up the camp over there. So what does public authority do? They'll first provide the oversight. They look into the problem. Okay, the private player is now facing this problem, so let me figure out the solution. So they'll provide necessary permission for hassle-free project management, which is done by the concessionaire. So this was all about the project management aspect in the key implications of public-private partnership. So now after the project management, the project is completed, right? So after that, very much important part is this. This is also one of the most controversial part in the project, in an infrastructure project, that is the post project ownership. So this aspect can be flexible in the case of public private partnership because the concessionaire will be signing the relevant concession documents where he will be mentioning this much amount of years I will be handling this project. After that, in order to make the profits, in order to generate the revenue out of it, in some amount of years, I will be, maintaining this particular infrastructure to get the profits out of it. So this period is actually called as the concession period. And this should be managed under approved conditions to attract various bidders. So in this case, what government does or what public party does is that they'll actually, give attractive amount of concession period so that the bidders, it should be encouraging for the bidders to come forward and invest in this kind of projects, so they can also make money out of it, and even the public parties can improve the economic condition of that particular place, and even people will be getting the profit out of it. So this was all about post project ownership. Last but not the least, which is regulatory and dispute resolution framework. So what does this include? So this is just a funny visual of four people arguing about a conflict. So a strong regulatory and dispute resolution framework is essential to ensure compliance with concession agreements. So let us consider another example. Let us consider uh, the highway project. So what happens in the highway project is that a concessionaire will be allotted some activity. So after he complete that activity, what will he do? He'll maintain it for a particular period of time and make profits out of it. So if any dispute arise there, for example, he have signed the concession agreement wherein he actually have to manage that particular road or the highway for 5 years. But if he wants to extend that, so now their dispute resolution frameworks, is essential, because there then again there have to be a meeting between public party and the private party, and they'll ask him the reason why he have to extend the period. Probably he wouldn't have got that much amount of profit which he expected. So now he is asking for more, but government is not ready to give it to him. So in this case, somebody have to resolve this dispute. Hence, regulatory and dispute resolution framework comes into the picture. This framework also helps to resolve the conflicts that may arise between public authorities and private party during the project, even during the project as well. So this was all I explained with respect to the eighth key implication, that is regulatory and dispute resolution framework. So this is my YouTube channel, that is the Middle Class University. Please subscribe to my channel and press this bell icon so that you get frequent notifications uh, when I put the videos in my channel. This is my LinkedIn newsletter with the same name, that is the Middle Class University, where I post in simplifying the complex civil engineering concepts and also other concepts which is uh, related to infrastructure. So I'm concluding the topic of infrastructure and public private partnership.